Welcome to the UAE desert, where Army Recognition has been invited by Streit Group to visit their factory located near Dubai. This production facility can produce up to 400 vehicles a month and is transitioning to become a military-only production facility. Let's start off with an interview of the chairman and CEO, Mr. Guturov. Okay, Mr. Guturov, thank you very much for welcoming us here in your factory.
You're most welcome anytime.
Can you start by telling us when Streit Group was created and for which reason?
Streit was founded in Toronto, Canada in 1992, and the reason being for manufacturing cash transit vehicles and personal protection vehicles.
How many locations do you have today worldwide?
As today we have 11 production plants and 25 offices, which is the sale offices, after sale support and warranty and maintenance operations.
When did you start developing military vehicles and why?
Military vehicles we started developed in 2004. Reason being we been involved in supplying of armored vehicles to Iraq market, and there was a project which has been required armored personal carriers and semi-military vehicles.
Was it? Do you feel it was difficult to go from manufacturing and producing commercial vehicles to manufacturing and producing military vehicles?
It is a big step. It's two different way of designing vehicle. The vehicles which is for personal protection is called reverse engineering, and we actually do have a body of the vehicle which we have to fit plates inside the car and make sure they're all integrated between each other. Which is for military application, we actually have to produce the new body, or we in some cases we have to produce new vehicles. So that require different engineering skills, that require different supply chain, and that require also the additional components which we don't use in the personal protection cars.
So which vehicle in your military range is the most successful?
Yes, we have 6 different models. They're all of them different purpose. Most successful, I think they're all successful. By number of sales, they pretty much equal to each different model. For me, as a design point and challenge, I think the Scorpio, which is the last model we tested in Germany, just came back. We passed successfully 3A, 3B. With the safety reference, I would say probably 80%. We also did a side blast at 100 kg, which is, again, we've been 80% in the safe side. I think we can increase to Stanek 4 very easily. Also with multi-purpose design of the body, we can use this vehicle for different operation, different purpose. So for me, that's just not. It's just, the design was really attractive to me, and it was a challenge. So now, for next year, we probably will do it some changes and testing for Varan 4x4, maybe that 6x6, I'm sorry. That would be the most challengeable vehicle for next year.
Speaking of the Scorpion, is it now ready for production?
Yes, it is ready for production. It's been fully tested. It's been fully tested in the driving range, and it's been also tested in Stanek 3, 3A, 3B, and also Stanek 3 in kinetic. So it's completely operational. We're going to start production starting from January 2014 as our normal production vehicle.
And finally, speaking of the Varan, it's probably your most ambitious project to date. What is the current status of the project and the outlook for the future? You mentioned some tests for next year.
Yes, warrant is it's been put on hold for a while by design changes in suspension and level of protection. As I said, in the first quarter of the 2014 it will be tested at Stanek 4. Along with that, we are doing design in the same Varan 2, which is 8x8, and we're going to integrate this vehicle in a slightly different way because that's a different purpose vehicle. So we need to integrate some navigation equipment, some remote weapon stations and stuff like that. So that's for next year our plan for 6x6 and continue to work in 8x8 section.
All right, Mr. Buturov, thank you very much.
Most welcome anytime. Thank you very much again.
Streit Group is the world's leading privately owned vehicle armoring company, a success built on the proven performance of its customized security and civil armored vehicles in testing conflict zones. Today, the company's range of up-armored and armored vehicles incorporate many of the lessons learned from saving multiple lives over the past 20 years. Streit's growing portfolio includes personal protection vehicles, cash-in-transit vehicles, heavy-duty cash-in-transit trucks, law enforcement vehicles, and vehicles for military tactical units. Armoring can also be provided for existing civilian platforms such as custom-built luxury sedans and SUVs. Streit Security vehicle in Ras Al Khaimah focuses on the production of Toyota models, while Streit Middle East in Jebel Ali specializes on commercial, cash transit and special project vehicles. Both facilities are able to design and produce custom order vehicles. Armoring vehicles independently or in partnership with OEMs, Streit can tailor each vehicle to the operational needs of government and commercial customers and the associated threat levels. Before going into the field, Streit's vehicles undergo extensive terrain and ballistic testing. Okay, we are now inside the production line at the Streit Group factory, where a representative will guide us through all the steps to manufacture the Cougar 4x4 armored vehicle.
This is the first stage then of a 20-stage build. Stage 1 is disassembly of the fenders, the hood, the bumpers, the plastics and all the parts that we can reuse on the vehicle. Okay, stage 2 then, all the parts have been removed and we start upgrading the chassis, strength as well as the suspension. So we remove the OEM suspension equipment and put on the upgraded, as well as do some modifications to the chassis to accept the floor of the up-and-coming vehicle. Stage 3 then, this is where we start putting the floor onto the vehicle. So we build a frame off the vehicle, which then gets mounted via rubber mounts and bolts onto the original chassis. Okay, this is stage 4. So the floor plate has now been put on, the ballistic floor plate, as well as the frame and the floor of the vehicle. So you have 2 floors, one which is the ballistic floor plate at the bottom, and then above that is the floor you actually see from inside the vehicle. Stage 5, this is where we start putting the body onto the floor. The first thing we do is insert ribs that go onto the floor, then sort of a notch and peg system. So the ribs go in, which show us the position then and give us the right positioning for the side walls. As you can see, the doors are still in place at the moment. This is just to add strength during the welding process. They'll be cut out and manufactured later. After the walls have gone in, we then insert the rear, the one here. So the rear door goes in, the rear panel. And once that's all spot welded in place as it is there, we can then put the roof on, which gives us the complete body shape. The next stage then, once we're happy that the vehicle has all gone together correctly, we can remove the doors, as you can see on this vehicle, and start fitting in the hinges. So the first thing we do is fit the hinges, weld the hinges to the door before removing it from the nesting or the pattern. Then what we can do is start to fully weld. So you'll see now that the welds are now starting, instead of being tack welded, they're now becoming full welds. This gives us the strength on the overlaps. Okay, the next stage then, after full welding, so the roof and the body and everything's now been full, all the panels have been fully welded together, is to cut out the tabs that hold the doors in place. So the hinges have been fully mounted to the doors, and the small tabs that hold the door in place for strength while welding have now been cut so we can open the door. You'll also see inside then that an overlap has now been fitted, and this just allows protection for the ballistic gap between the frame and the door. Okay, the next stage then is the mild steel parts added to the front of the vehicle. So the front end still has a ballistic frame, so it's still protected from munitions. However, to increase shape and style, we use mild steel as it's easier to bend and manipulate. So this is the stage now where we start adding those parts on. Headlights, front grills and such like. This particular variant, you can actually take this whole front end off and you can see the seam here. This just allows for maintenance to the engine to be a lot easier. We can remove the front end steel work. Looking along then, you'll also notice there's a floor pan gone on underneath the doors. So this is giving extra protection underneath to the chassis and the fuel tank and the components under there. And also all the external fittings such as grab rails, weather strips above the door and above the gun ports are all getting added at this point. Also fenders, just for style. Final stage then, prior to moving to paint, is fitting of glass and all the auxiliary components. So as you can see on this vehicle, it's got the glass frames in place. These are just being sized up and positioned. They'll then be removed for the glass to be inserted correctly. As we move around the front as well, the bumper and things like that will start to be placed in. This one's just placed in position at the moment, it's not actually mounted, but front grills, headlight protection, all these sort of things are now being fitted, prepping the vehicle for final grinding prior to primering and painting. For the painting process, the vehicle is primered to protect the steel. All the add-on parts, bumpers, the underpan, the hood are all removed at this stage. They go into the paint shop so we can prime as much as possible to prevent rusting. It then comes back here and is then reassembled, and any of the imperfections in the steel are then worked on by the body fillers. As you can see here, this is just the initial stages and still needs to be a lot of prep work done before the final painting process. You can see as well the glass has now been fitted on this vehicle. Depending on the thickness of the glass, we can do an internal mounted glass like this, or sometimes we have to have it so where it protrudes outside of the vehicle, depending on the thickness. Gun ports have also been fitted around the windows. Just allows the crews inside to be able to open up and fire from inside the vehicle, but still giving them the protection of the B6 or B7 steel, whichever variant they choose. And also we start fitting the internal components now. So the original dashboard, steering columns, brake levers, brake pedals and such like start getting fitted.
During our visit of the factory, we also had the chance to test two vehicles from Streit's security range. The first vehicle was the Spartan, a 4x4 light armored vehicle based on the Ford F550 but fully redesigned with chassis-mounted body by Streit. It is a new generation of light armored vehicle which can be configured in various models to support a wide range of military, counterterrorism and police operations. During our test drive in a desert, the Spartan demonstrated exceptional mobility. Designed with a large crew compartment for up to 6 personnel, the Spartan is TANAG Level 1 certified, built to withstand ballistic attack and provide advanced protection against anti-personnel mines and grenade blasts. The other vehicle we could try was the Typhoon, a 4x4 multi-purpose mine-resistant ambush-protected or MRAP vehicle. It is designed to be highly maneuverable with 60% gradient and 30% side slope capabilities, as well as high ground clearance of up to 920 mm. The Typhoon is equally at home in urban, mountainous and challenging off-road terrains and has excellent field repairability. With the capacity to carry up to 12 personnel plus equipment, the Typhoon can be configured for a wide range of missions, including command and control, EOD, patrol, convoy support, forward observation, reconnaissance and medevac.